past, I've used willow and yellow cedar for whistles. So today we're going to use willow, and it's a really good wood to start with. It's easy to carve and it's easy to work with. So I would advise starting with that if you're starting to make a whistle. We're also going to use some hazelnut today because I haven't ever worked with hazelnut really, so I think it'd probably be a good product to start with to make a whistle. So today we're going to use some apples. Well, I haven't worked with apple either, so I think it could just be kind of cool. You really need a sharp saw for this. It's really important. So these are two of my pieces of wood, the willow and the hazelnut. You need to be pretty straight, without very many knots, and they need to be fairly big. These are about an inch in diameter. That's pretty much perfect depending on the size of hole you want to drill. The tools that I'm going to be using today are the chisel. It could be a chisel or a knife. It has to be really sharp in either way. A chisel's nice for cutting the notch and getting a clear cut, but a knife is better for shaping the body later on. It's just your preference. It's a really sharp saw that's fine-toothed. It has to be fine-toothed so that you have more control. This is a sanding stick. A sanding stick is basically some sandpaper that's been glued onto a stick. It makes it so you can grind more with the sandpaper, and it's also a flat surface so you can flatten things better. The last tool we need is a cordless drill. You could use a drill press, but I don't have one, so you also might want a little bit of oil, but that's optional. So the first thing we do in the actual making of the whistle is we drill a hole basically as far into the stick as we can, and this is kind of an airway. This determines the depth of this hole determines the pitch of the whistle. The deeper is a deeper tone than long in the hole. So it's not as hard as it looks to keep the drill bit straight. In this, the grain of the wood kind of guides it. Okay, so the next thing we have to do after drilling the hole is make a saw cut into just the very top of the hole that we can then cut towards and make a cut or notch so that the air can escape. Because right now we just have a hole. If we tried to blow in that, then nothing would happen. So I'm cutting the notch down, and what I'm looking for is you should just be able to see the teeth of the saw just on the bottom of the top of the hole. So once you make the saw cut, you have to actually carve the notch with your chisel or knife, and you want to kind of just chip pieces off because you can't actually carve them off because you might hit the front end of the whistle and split that off, which would ruin your whistle, and all that work you did before would be for nothing. So, and you have to just work down to the bottom of the saw cut, and if you made your saw cut right, it'll turn out looking like this, which is a perfect notch. If you notice there, you can see part of the hole in the bottom, and that hole is just the right size. If you make it too big or too small, that doesn't work. I had to restart my willow one because it was too big. Now I have to put a dowel that's flattened on the top in the hole in the whistle up to the saw cut, so that then it'll constrict the flow of air so that so it makes the whistle whistle. I'm not positive on how it makes the whistle whistle because the whistle has a constriction flow of air, but it does. And what I found works best is if the flattened part ends up being level with the bottom of the socket. Okay, so as you can see, I've flattened the tip of that dowel. So when it fits into the fill hole, it comes level with the saw cut on the bottom, and it only extends to the saw cut. So it looks good. This is tight enough that I won't need to glue it. If you make your dowel well enough to the hole, you won't need to glue it. So now's the big point. I can test it. So it works. It's great.